Oh, the internet outrage machine is running full tilt. You probably heard about the Star Wars Battlefront 2 microtransactions gonna walk it back thing, and so we felt like we had to make a video on the state of gaming and microtransactions and all of that.
We don't normally do these kind of... We don't get on the hype train, and we don't usually cover gaming. But we do get on the hate train, and the hate train's going strong for EA right now.
And it's not just EA. EA is sort of the tipping point. That's like the point at which you have to go to the emergency room. But this infection's been festering for a long time. We look at the big releases from 2017. Let's roll some off lists there.
Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, World War II, South Park, and Battlefront 2. We're going to talk a little bit about Battlefront 2, even though that's kind of old news.
So in all that list, you've got pay to win, you've got loot boxes, you've got multiple DRMs on a single game, you've got single player, pay to win, microtransaction stuff. You've got everything that we hate about the gaming industry that's really come to a head. These giant releases for 2017 are all major offenders.
So to find out what we say that you should do about all this, you're going to have to pay $5 to see the conclusion.
It's just $5, and it's going to save you a lot of time wondering.
$5. It's cheap. It's a great deal. It supports us. Go on Patreon. $5.
The link to Patreon is in the description below. $5 American dollars. Oh yeah. We're not kidding. Go.
Hit it.
We'll wait. It's fine. I can't even keep a straight face during that. That's just so terrible. Maybe get a loot box to see the end. I don't know.
If you did give us the $5, thanks.
You didn't have to, though.
It wasn't actually required.
Oh, psych! So, what the state of games, it started out as cosmetic items, and now a lot of these games that we mentioned are basically entering pay-to-win territory, where especially, like Assassin's Creed, you can do skill points. A lot of the games you can pay to get weapons. Some of it's single player, some of it's multiplayer. Star Wars Battlefront 2 was really pushing the envelope of what you could buy. I mean, it was pretty nuts.
The same way. I mean, that just makes it so unfun when you run into someone who's got way better gear than you just because they bought it.
Of course, most of this stuff started in the mobile world, and maybe they perfected it in the mobile world. Of course, Valve. We can't forget Valve. Valve kind of is the grandfather of all of this. They may have done a sort of a not as insidious approach to it, but they did introduce it to the PC gaming world.
Through CSGO.
And CSGO and the Team Fortress.
The hats.
Oh yeah, the hats. Team Fortress.
The hats was brilliant. I mean, it's like they can make millions of dollars.
The third part, the marketplace, really.
Yeah.
It's like buy and trade these things after the fact. And so everybody saw that and saw how much money was being generated, and it was inevitable they were going to get on board.
Now, a lot of articles have been written, and if you're watching this, you probably not living under a rock. There's a lot of comparisons to gambling, and some of it is apropos, some of it doesn't really fit all that well, but there is a term from the whole gambling thing called a whale. Some of these players are whales.
A whale is someone who's basically, they're going to be sitting at the table all night. They're going to gamble whether or not they're winning, they're losing, and the casino, they'll be giving them free drinks, they'll give them, a free buffet, because they know ultimately they're going to recoup those losses, because that person's just going to keep paying because they're feeling that good feeling.
The gambler's
gratification is the word I'm looking for.
And the psychology of it maybe is the same, and they do call them whales. I think they call them dolphins too. Like if you're not quite a whale, which is hilarious.
You're a smaller target.
You're still a mammal. But I think we have to disagree with the gambling thing, because here's the big difference. No matter how many loot crates you buy in Battlefront 2, you can't win a bunch of money.
Yeah.
At least in CSGO, if you get the $400 knife, you could sell it in the marketplace.
But then that's just Steam money. There's no way to convert. I mean, you can buy games with it, but you can't really convert it back to currency, as it were. So gambling, may be going a little too far. Psychological manipulation, absolutely.
Yeah, if only there were a way to see inside executives' minds to know, because we've all read the press releases, and it's like, oh, this improves gameplay experience, does it?
It doesn't really seem like it does.
It's what gamers crave.
Well, clearly somebody wants it because they're making a lot of money from this. I mean, we've got the numbers from Rockstar when they introduced microtransactions. Their profitability was through the roof.
So people are buying it. It must be good, right? But when you listen to those conference calls, when you look at how they even sometimes write articles that are, on financial websites, not on gaming websites. When they're talking to their shareholders, they are very frank about what this is.
The shareholders' calls are really the best insight into executives' minds. You can cut through all the PR fluff, and you can really tell because a lot of the executives are really trying to be a little bit obtuse with what they're saying to their shareholders, because they're like, oh god, the shareholder call is going to be leaked to the press. And if they stop one short of saying, yes, we are pushing every psychological button that we can in our consumer base to exploit them for as much money as possible. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you really should go listen to the EA shareholder calls, for example.
But one thing they are not obtuse about, they're very frank about, is how much money this is making. It is incredible. It's doing exactly what they want. And so I don't think any amount of outrage and Reddit posting,
Reddit downvotes.
You can downvote
1 million
that
strong.
AMA post. You can downvote it. You might feel good, but you're not going to stop it.
Yeah, I guarantee you in one of these shareholder calls, it's going to be like, we got a lot of press. There's no such thing as bad press. Yeah, we got 1 million downvotes, but look, we're printing money here.
This is going to be fine. A Disney executive called EA and was like, whoa. Let's slow it down. But they didn't tell him to stop it. They told him to stop it until after the movie released. And it's not ever going to completely stop, you're right.
And the holiday sales.
Yes.
So, yeah, by that time, the damage is done.
It's easy to imagine, what if EA took an approach similar to Valve's, where you still have the randomized loot box mechanic, but the player can participate in the game's economy. So if the player gets a really rare whatever, and they want to sell it on the marketplace, that's fine. But EA would make a portion of the proceeds from that transaction, as would the player. Maybe the player wouldn't complain. That's worked out real well for Valve and Steam. Maybe EA could do something similar. So these things are here to stay. And it is, on some level, psychological exploitation. Some portion of the audience is going to get caught up in this. So that must mean we have to regulate it, right? We don't think so.
Yeah, regulation's never the answer. And you got to think that you bring in regulation and now your favorite game series just became hate speech.
And now it's destroyed.
And you've got the government sticking its beak in there, and they're going to take a piece. Games are going to get more expensive. There is one solution and only one solution here, and it's going to hurt you a little bit.
It's do nothing. Don't do anything. This is probably the only video on the internet that's going to tell you just don't do anything. And that means don't buy the games that are coming out with loot boxes and microtransactions.
Now, for us, it was not do nothing. For us, it was we need to make a video to explain it to you, because maybe if you understand the psychological component, it is actually a studied psychological phenomena that if you have a randomized loot box, they don't refer to it as a loot box, but you have a randomized gambling thing where you just win randomly, that is the best situation to optimize how much someone is willing to gamble, to participate, or to whatever, not gambling on money, but gambling on items and things like that. And so if you're aware of that psychological phenomena, if you're aware that somebody is trying to hack your brain, maybe you'll be more resistive to it. And so our service here is to try to announce that and draw attention to it, and to just tell you to be aware of it and simply do nothing.
And you have to remember that feeling that you're getting right now, it's like, oh, but I got to play Battlefront, but all my friends have it. That's another psychological trick, and that's where pre-order bonuses and even pre-order at all, it's a digital good. They can't run out of it, and that's fear of missing out. So remember that fear of missing out is what's driving you. It's like, oh, I have to participate. I have to be able to post my experiences, and I have to make YouTube videos about it and Let's Plays. And it's another way that they're sort of drawing you in. And the only way we're ever going to be able to combat this is to not do that. Don't participate.
Show some restraint.
Be willing to walk away. That's the best message. The call to action from level 1 is to simply do nothing. And we promise you that though the way will be spend that money on an indie developer. Maybe we'll get some good storytelling in games again.
And CD Projekt Red, the guys that made The Witcher, they are famous for not doing any of this crap and giving you free DLC after the fact. There are places to spend your gaming dollars out there. There might not be as many, but if you can find them, spend the time to find them and ignore the horrible, evil corporations, things will eventually get better if enough people do it.
Our advice is going to lead to the creation of a whole generation of hipster gamers. It's like, oh yeah, I was playing CD Projekt Red. You probably never heard of them.
Witcher, you never heard of it. It's an awful big game.
Or whatever the next studio like that is going to be.
That would be sort of like a straight edge crew where it's like, Oh, dude, I don't ever do DRM. Sorry.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm clean. That would be okay.
Simply do nothing. That's a good piece of advice. You should take it and share it and think about it and comment in the forums. I'm Wendell,
I'm Krista.
I'm Ryan.
and we'll see you in the Level 1 forums.